welcome to the NEC Big Game and the match coming out of Redfern today between the Rabbitohs and the Canterbury-Bankstown Bulldogs. Souths have been forced to make a couple of changes. Ross Harrington goes in for the injured Ziggy Niscott, and Bill Hardy is back and Michael Carberry is out. Canterbury's team, beaten by Cronulla last weekend, has undergone a lot of change. Andrew Farah is back in the centres. Max Mannix is on the wing, replacing Ross Conlon. And in the forwards, Darryl, Brohman, Peter Kelly and Mark Bugden have been recalled. Ron Willey is the coach at Souths. Warren Ryan in charge of Canterbury. Both sides beaten last weekend. Canterbury to kick off, running from right to left. No wind. Graham West is the whistle man. And there's Neil Baker. I'm absolutely shocked that he's on the field today. When he was taken by stretcher from the field last Sunday against Penrith, I thought it was a very, very serious injury, and I think most people would agree. Remarkable recovery. This is Michael Pobjie, and one of these two teams is going to have to make a remarkable recovery in this match today on the form they displayed, both of them, I mean, last weekend. Penalty to Souths. Canterbury inside the 5. Baker kicking for line, and he's failed to find it. Well, that's not the norm with Neil Baker playing against his old club today. This is Mark Bugden. He went ahead strongly, head down, and he ran into the hip of Bill Hardy. Evans helped in the tackle. Folks. And now with Mortimer on the blind, he puts a kick up, beautifully placed kick. And a bad bounce for South Sydney's Dejura, but he came out of it okay. In fact, did he what? He's made an enormous run. Bronco Dejura. Tackled 32 out from his own line just when I thought Canterbury might have scored. Here's Les Biles running onto a long ball from Coleman. Swamped in defence. About 5 metres on the south side of the halfway. That's Hardy, good strong player. Came back from injury in reserves last week and was called on to go on in the top grade. Here's Pobjie. Penalty to South. That's against the tackler. Terry Lamb, the offender. Canterbury took out the first round match at Belmore 18-4 as Baker kicks for line. Finds it about 10 metres into Canterbury's area. Coleman, Baker, McCarthy. Good solid hit by Langmack on McCarthy. Baker, Coleman, away from Big Brohman, across to Ackery, tackled on the 22 line. Hardy, good football. Played by Coleman. Evans. South probing for the opening. Here's Finneck. Across to Baker. Dummies beautifully. Oh, that was good football by Baker. 5 gone. And the kicker is playing the ball. So Coleman falls in. Darren McCarthy kicks. Potter cleans up. And did he what? That was a good piece of football by Michael Potter.
The game's been going for 10 minutes, and the most noticeable thing to come out of it is the slow start that Canterbury-Bankstown have made. All the play virtually has been in their half, and Souths are looking strong.
Tunks has put it down. Souths have come up with it through Ackery. And I'm starting to wonder how much more pressure Canterbury can withstand. Fortunately for them, it's in the early part of the match when they're pretty fresh. Lamb and Baker having a difference of opinion. Finneck gets out from dummy half. I see a paper this morning reports that he's going to Eastern Suburbs. An unconfirmed report, of course. And a fairly untimely piece of information, I would guess, for the South Sydney team on the morning of a big match against Canterbury. This is Boyle. Across the line to Coleman, wide for Baker, short ball for Hardy. And Hardy, he's a strong man. Look at him, standing like a colossus and offloading. Nobody can doubt the potential of Bill Hardy. Joey Thomas gets a kick in. He got pulled down by a Canterbury player. There may be a penalty here. Referee's allowed play to go. Peter Mortimer comes out with it. Well, I might have been seeing things, but I dead set got the opinion that Joey Thomas kicked and was grabbed by a Canterbury player as he pursued the ball. Canterbury rucking it out now on the far side of the ground. That's Max Mannix.
Come on, he's falling. Come on, come on.
Big dummy and then a run from dummy half by Mark Bugden. Long ball for Farrer to kick. He's kicked it straight to the fullback. That's not good enough from Andrew. He's much better than that with his positioning of the long kick. Bronco De Jura plays it on the halfway. That's Harrington, who's in the side for Niscott. Three-man Canterbury defence. Fennick out from dummy half again. He reads that dummy half play very much like Chris Guider, Bill. They're the best two dummy half runners in the game, in my opinion. Out to Coleman. Long ball out to McCarthy. They're running it hard. McCarthy! He's got it inside to Biles. Here comes Bronco De Jura, but he's unable to get a pass. Darren McCarthy. David Boyle. Out to Coleman. Long ball to Ackery. On to Hardy. Now to Joey Thomas. They've got to score. They've got to score. Pobjie. Pobjie scores for the Rabbits. Good stuff from South Sydney. Good stuff. Michael Pobjie scoring. But didn't they let the ball do the work? It was simply a case of the ball beating the man. David Boyle with a hit and spin. Coleman's pass was a gem of a pass. Ackery did well, so did Hardy, and Thomas held it until very close to the line, and Pobjie was in for the touchdown.
It all started to play the ball before this, when McCarthy made a long run down the left-hand side of the field for South Sydney. From the next play, the ball went to Boyle, then to Coleman, who threw a great long pass over the top to Ackery, who catch and gave in the one motion onto Hardy. Hardy to Thomas, and Thomas threw a well-weighted and well-timed pass to Pobjie, and over he goes in the corner for a tremendous South Sydney try.
And here it is, the head-on of Michael Pobjie scoring. And there he is. Gee, that was a good try, Bill.
Very good try by South Sydney, but I'm sure that Canterbury-Bankstown coach Warren Ryan would be disappointed with his defence. South Sydney went something like 70 metres in three play-the-balls, and it culminated in that try in the corner.
From the touchline, 22 out. Baker, it's looking good. He's got it. Baker from the touchline has kicked the goal, and the Rabbits lead by 6-0.
Fed by Mortimer, won by the blue and whites. It's out to Lamb, and De Jura comes up and makes the tackle. Mannix passes, finds Langmack. Langmack is taken by Boyle, gets it back to Mannix. Mannix is put down about 10 metres into South's area. But South are not taking a backward step at the moment against their more illustrious opposition. And this is Stephen Folkes, pulled down by Boyle and by across to Brohman. I was just looking at that little bit of an incident between Folkes and Boyle. It looked like Boyle finished up with a poke on the chin. Penalty to Canterbury. South's inside the 5, right in front. Touch judge in. Now, what's this all about? Any idea, Bill?
Michael Pobjie in the back play. The Canterbury-Bankstown player didn't have the ball. Pobjie came in over the top, and it looked like he collected him with his arm. The linesman was going to run on and report it, but played the advantage to Canterbury, and he's gone on now. The penalty for the 5 metres has been awarded.
So Chris Mortimer is the new kicker for Canterbury in the absence of Ross Conlon. Mortimer with his mouth bleeding. Canterbury's reserve grade team today. Have a listen to some of these names. Ross Conlon, Gary Hughes, Jim Lease, Jeff Robinson, Billy Johnston, Brian Batiste. Chris Mortimer, straight between the uprights. Scoreline, South 6, Canterbury 2. 20 minutes of the match gone. Baker's kick is a long one down. Oh, beautifully taken by Potter. He may have put it down fractionally, but it was a nice take. He's got all the skills, Michael Potter, that's for sure. Here's poor Langmack. Tackled on the 22. Fed back for the kick to Farah. And that's another well-placed kick. It's gone. Oh, Dejura took it nicely. He's a cricketer of some note, Bronco Dejura, and he took that ball as though he was fielding something on the outfield.
Well, he's a wicket keeper, but he has played for Australian under-19s. He's been in the New South Wales Sheffield Shield squad.
In other words, what you're saying is I don't know much about cricket. Played by Dejura on the halfway, across to Coleman, gone to Baker, who kicks, and again Potter goes across in a hurry, and he's got it covered, Potter, I should say, and he's tackled just outside the quarter. He's been kept busy, young Potter, today.
He had a fairly unhappy game last week against Cronulla, and I'm sure that South's at work to him, but he's come through roses so far.
Mannix, taken by Les Biles.
You can see an example there of why Mannix has been included in the Canterbury team. They've been looking for pace out wide, and he's got bundles of it.
Penalty to Canterbury, South inside the 5, and again it's right in front, 32 metres out, and Chris Mortimer will come up and take his second kick at goal. The fans have gone for the old faithful Umbies as the rain continues to fall at Redfern. Chris Mortimer hits it, it's low, it's got the length, and it's a goal. And that's all that matters as far as Chris is concerned. 6 points to 4. South Sydney leading Canterbury. You're watching the NEC big game with Baker's kick again down into that corner, and again Potter has to make a spectacular take. But he's without blemish at this stage of the game. And as I said earlier, he's had a very busy day, and he's injured in that tackle. Potter injured in the back of play. And here's a scrum to go down now, just inside the Canterbury 22. Canterbury trainer out there looking at Potter. Scrum won by the Rabbits. Knocked backwards, said the referee. Play on. Coleman. Dummy half Thomas. Thomas looking to burrow through the middle. Crowd calling for a penalty. Canterbury, the crowd alleges, inside the... Oh, gee, that tackle on Hardy was a trifle high. Referee had a good sight of it. That's a good ball from Evans back to Thomas. And Canterbury again in pressure, under pressure, Bill.
Canterbury are playing without a left winger. Their winger, Peter Mortimer's gone to fullback while Potter's receiving attention. If South can spread the ball out this side, they're a big chance in the corner.
This is Darren McCarthy. 5 tackles gone for South. Baker's ready for it, but it's gone to the wrong man. It's gone back to the number 10, who goes for a drop goal. Evans. Well, he may be a drop kick exponent, Evans, but he is, Bill, is he?
Yes, he can kick goals.
I'm sorry.
Field goals. I can remember him as a lower grade player with South, and he was quite an exponent.
I was going to suggest that the ball dead set went to the wrong bloke because Baker was standing right behind the ruck. Tunks plays it. Mortimer out through Lamb. Long ball to Farah. Farah. Oh, he pushed off Michael Pobjie. The ball has gone to ground. It's with Steve Mortimer. He's tackled by Evans.
That's the sort of play that Canterbury have been trying to put together, but I've got to say I'm surprised at their willingness to spread the balls in situations that aren't on.
This is Langmack now. Lamb. His kick is getting close to the touchline. It's beaten Les Biles.
That's better play.
And so the scrum will go down midway, 22 halfway south end of the field. Terry Lamb's kick on the NEC replay, beating the South's fullback. And Canterbury coming up with the penalty. Feet across against Fenech.
Darryl Brohman's come into this game for Canterbury, and he's a renowned ball player, and I'm sure that he's the sort of a player with the type of skills that coach Warren Ryan will be looking for to put players into gaps and to come up with tries.
Here's Kelly. Mortimer. Brohman. Little kick ahead by Brohman. Lamb's going fast. Lamb will score. I think it's a try to Terry Lamb. Well, South Sydney failed to force that ball, according to the referee, and Terry Lamb continued to chase. Was he behind Darryl Brohman? Because if he wasn't, he certainly was inside the 5.
Well, this is why Darryl Brohman's been brought into the side. He's a player with all the skills. Here it's the grubber kick in behind the defensive line. South Sydney had a chance to tidy it up, and the two players that could have were Biles and Dejura, but neither of them grounded the ball, and it's Terry Lamb who comes in over the top and puts his hand on it for what has to be a fairly controversial try, looking at that again.
Yes. Whether or not the ball was forced with downward pressure, that's the question that you must ask yourself, but that's, again, water under the bridge. The try has been given to that man, Terry Lamb, Dally M player of 1983 and a real hot favourite to take it out again in 1984. His main combatant is his fullback, Michael Potter. Chris Mortimer, just outside the 22, 6 in from touch. It's looking good. He's got it. That's a good kick by Chris Mortimer. And the scoreline, Canterbury 10, South Sydney 6. Chris Mortimer. Steve, folks. Mannix has gone without it. Scrum just on the Canterbury side of halfway. Scrums and penalties, 4-2 the scrums to the Rabbits, 6-5 the penalties to them. Biles just got winged, if I can use that expression, by a shot from Farah. Coleman looks for the opening. And again he's putting the scrum down. Calling Mario Fenech over, and I think he's telling him to tell his players to shut up, to put it bluntly. Won by the Bulldogs. Paul Langmack taken by Baker. Whoops, Terry Lamb thinking about what he was going to do before he had the ball. Here's Farah. Good defence out wide there from Hardy and Pobjie. Because Michael Pobjie, I think I'm right, didn't he play under Warren Ryan when he was at Utah?
Yes, he did play, and then I think he spent one season with Penrith. And his brother Kevin certainly played for Penrith.
Tunks took it up strongly. Ackery came bouncing off, where Bronco Dejura brings it out. Biles asked to go for a run. 10-6, Canterbury leading. 1 try, 3 goals. That's Boyle. Evans. Baker charged down by Mortimer. This will be a South Sydney feed. It came off the hands of Steve Mortimer. So Coleman should get the feed and South the loose. There's the charge down by Steve Mortimer, and the Canterbury have put it into touch. So, as we expected, this is a South Sydney scrum. Some playing strength there on the bench today. Johnston, Conlon, Robinson from right to left. South's a penalty from the scrum that was packed. Getting close to the break. Fennick across to Coleman, out to Baker, and out to Pobjie. And what are they working on? They're stacking their blind. They're coming back there now. Coleman, and that's Evans. Coleman, Baker, Ackery. Fennick, Coleman, Boyle, Baker. He's playing well, Baker, isn't he? This is Thomas. He got under two high tackles. 5 gone for the Rabbits. Coleman. Baker puts the kick high over to Mannix's wing. Oh, it went straight through his arms, Mannix. And it's a knock-on a scrum. And South will come up with the feed and the loose. Max Mannix.
If Souths are looking at that clock, they've only got 1 or 2 tackles, so I'd suggest they're going to put up a bomb and put Potter under even more pressure just before half-time.
And a scrum win to Souths. Run around was on. Baker's gone back to the blind. The Jura comes up on that blind side. They're about 18 metres out from the Canterbury line, the Rabbits. It's through to Coleman, on to Thomas, now to Darren McCarthy. The clock, probably 30 seconds to go, and they've played their second tackle. This is Thomas through Coleman. It's out to Mario Fennick. This is David Boyle. Boyle, he's tackled about 10 metres out. They've almost got to play this ball and put it up. Boyle plays it back to Coleman. Out now to Evans, a grubber kick, and it's been taken by Mortimer. Canterbury on their own line will play it out now to the break. There's the siren, and the scoreline at half-time, 10-6 in favour of Canterbury-Bankstown. Welcome back to the second half of the NEC big game. Paul Ackery for South has been replaced by John Elias, wearing number 26 jumper and a very heavy strapping elastic bandage around that left arm. Have a look at it. Oh, it's thick.
He's a lightweight player, John Elias, and I would assume that he's going to go into the second row, and either Greg Evans or David Boyle will push up into the front row for South.
Good tackle by Evans on Max Mannix. And now it's with Darryl Brohman. He's earned 22. 4 points the difference then. Canterbury rucking it out for a couple. Steve Mortimer switches it for the kick to Farah, but Farah had trouble getting his kick in, and now he's rushed it and Coleman's given it to Biles.
That's the second time in this game that South Sydney's have hampered the Canterbury-Bankstown clearing kicks, and now they've put themselves in a good attacking position once again.
This is Thomas. Farah might have been better advised to have gone down with that ball and set themselves up for another clearing kick on another tackle. This is Coleman, now Baker. This is Elias getting it back for Fennick to give to Coleman. Then it's gone to Darren McCarthy, and it's away to Fennick. Well, there's plenty of passing. They're not going anywhere, but at least there were support men. The kick by Baker. It'll find touch. Yes, a good kick by Baker. Scrum to go down about 5 metres out from the Canterbury line. The NEC replay of it. Against the feed scrums 1-0 to Canterbury. Steve Mortimer now. Potter. Look at him go. Out to the 32-metre line. Mannix. Tunks. Lamb. That kick by Darryl, fine touch. Beaten to Dura. And a scrum to go down about only 15 metres out from the south line. National Panasonic Cup final on Wednesday week. No rugby league this Wednesday night, but combined Brisbane and Eastern Suburbs on Wednesday week. This is Neil Baker. Hardy plays it. Mannix gets a pass back to Boyle, but Souths have paid the penalty for wanting to play the game inside their own 22. Now Canterbury come up with the scrum feed, the loose head, and they get the penalty. Farrow's line kick finding it about 10 metres out. And Canterbury setting something up. Brohman's getting out very wide. Bugden plays it. Oh, he's had it raked back off him. And the referee indicates 6 more, so Bugden must have it. Mortimer. Lamb. Oh, beautifully engineered. Yes, it's a try to Peter Mortimer. Beautifully engineered. It all was set into motion from the time they took the penalty. I told you there was something happening. Brohman was out wide. Mortimer's long ball to Terry Lamb. Then he held back a ball to Brohman, and Potter ran into a gap a mile wide. And then Peter Mortimer finished it off. So Canterbury lead now by 14-6.
A well-planned and executed move by Canterbury. We can see that Darryl Brohman was used as a foil and the pass went in front of him to Nick Potter. Potter threw the ball over the top to Peter Mortimer. Mortimer goes over in the corner, and Canterbury-Bankstown looking good at this stage.
Peter Mortimer, the try scorer. He doesn't like it, and he's failed to get the extra 2 points. Canterbury leading South by 14-6 in the NEC big game. Lamb. Baker went up very quickly and made the tackle. Mortimer. That's his brother Chris, running into the shoulder of Joey Thomas. It's a good front-on tackler, Thomas. Steve Mortimer to the blind, cutting out a player with a good pass to Mannix, and Biles makes the tackle low. McCarthy over the top, plays about 30 metres out from the south line, and it's with Andrew Farrer, who's tackled without gaining very much ground. Long ball out to Terry Lamb, and then a cutout pass across to Potter. He's away from Pobjie, and then it's gone to Peter Mortimer. Now it's come back in field, and Pobjie has it for South. Pobjie comes out to the 22, tackled by Mortimer. Well, that was very similar. That passage of play from Canterbury was very similar to the to the set play that they used from the penalty to score the try. They had two forwards out wide running as decoys, and the pass goes across the face of both of them, and it lands eventually in the arms of Potter, who takes them by surprise.
They did clear the ruck very quickly with a couple of long passes where they had extras out in the back line, and again it was only some scavenging defence by South Sydney that stopped a dangerous situation.
Baker holds back his kick, chips, intelligent play by Baker. It's picked up by McCarthy. Oh, the referee's given a penalty to Canterbury. He's penalised Baker, I do believe. Now he's walked them another 10 for back-chatting. Here's Baker. Gee, it was a good piece of football by Baker. And that's what brought the penalty. I can't understand why he's given that penalty, because the rule says that two players chasing the ball can in fact jostle each other when running shoulder to shoulder with the use of the hip or the shoulder. I'm almost positive that's what the rule book says.
It's a fairly touch and go penalty, that one. There's no doubt that Baker did push Mortimer and interfered with him getting to the ball, but as you say, the rule book does state that you can jostle one another when going for a ball in a one-on-one contest.
The referee indicated that Baker actually pulled Mortimer back out of the play. He gave the indication that he put his arms around Mortimer and pulled him back out of it, but I didn't see it that way at all. And a very, very interesting moment in the game. South have the ball now. Coleman, that's Hardy. He's played strongly, Hardy. He does have a tendency to get out. Oh, the brawl goes on in centre ground. Darren McCarthy, he's not taking any backward steps with Paul Langmack. A couple of young warriors. They were letting plenty go. I don't know that many found the mark.
Just letting off a little steam.
Canterbury's penalty. Fennick hotly disputing the referee's ruling.
Yeah, there are a lot of South Sydney players in the background that are having things to say to the referee, but they're just not doing themselves any good. I think the South Sydney players have lost control, and Mario Fennick, as the captain, has got to take it upon himself to settle them down and not become involved personally.
Have a look at them. They're all talking and arguing. I think Pobjie's trying to settle them. Chris Mortimer, almost in the centre of the ground, and he's got it. They might look very flash, some of these kicks by Chris, but he's getting the points, and Canterbury lead by 10 points in the NEC big game. And Willie must be very concerned. Former great South player sitting off his right hand, Paul Sate. Peter Mortimer. Bugden. Near the halfway. Brohman. Geez, throwing some beautiful balls. Potter tackled. Some of these guys playing at a roundabout outside centre have been just running at the gap, and because of Darryl Brohman's expertise, all you've got to do is run at the gap and he'll put the ball there for you. Very much cast in the same mould as a bloke called Malcolm Reilly in that department before people rush to criticise that comment, but I think it's fairly accurate. He's a beautiful ball player, Bill, isn't he?
Yes, he is, and that's the reason he's been included into the side. Canterbury-Bankstown were looking for a little more flair, and they found it with him.
Here's Elias. Coleman. Biles. Farrah's got him. This Elias, Bill, is he related to the Balmain Benny?
That I can't answer.
No relation, I'm told, by Peter Polingos, who keeps in touch with those little questions that sometimes arise in league. Here's Potter. Good chase by Boyle and a good tackle. Brohman. Kick from Mortimer, finding touch. No change in the score, 16-6 in favour of Canterbury. For it may be for back chatting.
And Brian Batiste coming on for Canterbury-Bankstown.
Evans. He's played all right for South, Evans. He lost that ball too. Penalty to Souths. Touch judge in. Batiste being spoken to. Is he? Baker taking the line kick. Too late for penalty shots. 10 points in arrears. About 7.5, 8 minutes to go. Evans. Oh, that's a good ball by Evans. Gee, he's done some good things today, this fellow. Coleman. McCarthy. Can South score? Ellison. This is where South seem to have their trouble when they get into a try-scoring position. Here's Thomas doing something nice. He didn't get much help, Thomas. But it's a line drop out to restart. Thomas is fuming on the ref. See it again. No obstruction there. And then basically all I can say to you is it was a shoulder charge between he and Chris Mortimer as they raced for the ball. Now, that's the same rule I was talking earlier about when Baker incurred a penalty against South. Ball to be played by Pobjie. Coleman, cut out pass to Boyle. Baker. Good pass. Dejura. Held by Mortimer. Coleman. Ellison. Baker. Boyle. Turned inside and forward.
They're complaining again.
Well, I don't know whether he's ruled forward or whether he's ruled shepherd. He looked to give the indication that it was a shepherd. The pass was forward, there's no doubt in the world about that. Mario Finneck is back on the field. Coleman. McCarthy. Scrum in centre field, about 15 metres on south side of halfway. We're watching the last couple of minutes of what you might call real competition from a South Sydney point of view in 1984. slight chance of making the 5 coming into today, but a loss, particularly in view of the Canberra win yesterday, makes the job impossible for South Sydney. Peter Tunks, only about 15 metres out, fired back. I thought they were going for the drop goal. Both Lamb and Mortimer shaped to go for the drop goal. Oh, Mannix! Mannix has scored a brilliant winger's try. He used all his speed to go around Les Biles, and there can be no more embarrassing moment for a winger than to be beaten the way Mannix just got around Les Biles. Gee, he took off like greased lightning. Both Lamb and Mortimer shaped to kick for the drop goal, and then Mannix came to Biles and he just went whoops and right around him and swoosh. Blistering pace from young Max Mannix.
Well, this fellow's been brought into the side to provide some pace on the wings, and that's exactly what he's got. You see here the long pass from Mortimer to Lamb. Lamb gave the ball to on to Mannix. Mannix here with a good in and away, went around Biles. He didn't have a lot of sideline to work in, and he scores a great winger's try.
Terry Lamb, the new goal kicker for Canterbury on this occasion. And he has not got the direction. And so Canterbury leading by 20-6. And there's the siren. Canterbury-Bankstown winning over South Sydney at Redfern. A job that is never easy. Oh, the referee getting a lot of attention from the police as he came off, a lot of cover from the constabulary as he came from the field. Steve Folkes is wearing a shiner, and we'll leave you with the scoreline: Canterbury 20, South 6. Canterbury tries to Lamb, Peter Mortimer, Mannix, Chris Mortimer 4 goals, South's Pobjie a try, Baker a goal. And now let's cross down to the dressing rooms for our man of the match with Bill Anderson.
Today's man of the match was the Canterbury-Bankstown fullback, Michael Potter. Well, that was a big improvement on last week's performance.
Yeah, Bill, it was a lot better. Last week was terrible.
For taking today's award, you'll receive a cheque for $500, courtesy of NEC and Electronic Sales and Rentals.
Well, thanks, Bill, and I'd like to thank the sponsors too. Thank you.
You had quite a few weeks out in the early part of this year due to injury. How do you feel now?
Oh, the shoulder feels good, but I'm a little tired. I've still got a bit of condition to get back, but you know, the shoulder-wise, it feels really good. I'm real happy with it.
You're a player who's made his name in rugby league through your skills, kicking through, and one of those resulted in a try today in your ball handling. Do you think you've got all that together now?
I still think I've got a little bit to go on that. As you know, I'm playing with a new club, and I've still got to get to know the players here, you know, the way they play the game. So I still think I've got a bit of improvement. But